And welcome to another smAshlight section, where we talk about all kinds of things like hacks, frauds, political losers, total idiots, science, reality, fakeality. We've ordered the first merch, Smasher Price My First Pandemic. Look for that in less than 2 weeks. We'll be modeling it for you here. Have you learned how to say cheddar by talking at the top of your face? Cheddar. Tell your friends. Cheddar. It's spelled capital C-H-I-D-A. And for you Chinese people out there watching the content, we love you. We're just not fans of the Chinese Communist Party. Don't tell anybody we said so, or you could end up in a gulag. Thanks to our patrons, the real associate and assistant producers of the content. There will be a credit crawl coming one of these days. Tell your friends and your foes to help fund us and increase the probability that these videos will remain publicly visible and free, as the slightest thing could cause us to take down the whole channel at any moment. We're also on Subscribestar, and there are other links below the videos to help support us. Smash staff, we really need those Amazon links. Get on it. It's coming soon. Now, we are on Twitter, if you may have noticed. We've got hundreds and hundreds of posts there, 1,303 tweets on Twitter. So if you're not on there, well, you can't interact with us there. We're also on Facebook and Gab and Minds and smashomash.locals.com, Dave Rubin's new site. Now, let's talk about shadow banning. As I've talked about shadow banning many, many times on the channel, because we mysteriously don't seem to gain any subscribers or see any views on YouTube. I guess we're just uninteresting losers. Anyway, you see this console right here? This is a leaked admin console from Twitter. Oh yeah, that's right. Look at what it says. Perm suspended, bounced, protected, compromised, trends blacklist, search blacklist. Doesn't that seem a little bit sketchy to you folks? Do you think that big tech might be manipulating things like your search results? Are you still a complete COVIDiot who uses Google as a verb and as a search engine? Stop using Google as a verb and as a search engine. When you use Google as a verb, what it really means is using the Google search engine to obtain biased search results. Speaking of biased, Twitter is biased too, and so is Facebook. They're trying to interfere in the U.S. presidential elections once again because they consider their executive staff to know more about politics and economics and literally everything in the world than you stupid, idiotic plebes. So anyway, last night a massive hack happened where over $113,000 in Bitcoin has been sent. It's a complete scam. What a surprise. But now an even more sinister subplot is emerging from the ruins of Twitter's reputation, which is a terrible reputation, by the way. It's down in the dumpster along with piece of crap companies like Facebook and Google who can't get out of their own way. Maybe if they would hire more attorneys maybe if they would hire less attorneys instead of not hiring, maybe if they would hire software engineers instead of attorneys, maybe their software would work. Now, these platforms, which are free if you don't mind being spied on. And if you think there's anything organic about things like search results in places like Google, Twitter, and Facebook, let me just share a little story with you. Back in 2011 is when I stopped using Google as a search engine. Why is that? Well, let me tell you. It's because I typed in a URL. I went to google.com, I went to their search bar, and I typed in the whole URL, http://www.nameofcompany.com. Yes, I searched for the URL. Guess how many pages deep I had to go to get the result that I was looking for? Yeah, the exact URL of a company. 12 pages deep. It might have been 14, but it was over a dozen pages deep. Why is that? It's because Google will sell you listings, creating a totally artificial bidding war about search results. Twitter does the same sort of thing. They are 100% political hacks, just like Facebook and Google. Twitter, Facebook, and Google, complete political hacks. They're using your platform to spy on you and send market data. Send market data to China to use your shopping habits to pump up Chinese retailers in China and in India. Were you aware? I guess you weren't aware. Any platform on the internet that's free makes you the product. So, in any case, this Zero Hedge article is somewhat interesting. Is Twitter hiding a screenshot? Yeah, well, people have gone to Twitter jail for displaying this screenshot. Let's see if this video gets mysteriously shadow banned and banned outright. By the way, we are streaming live to Twitch. Check us out there at twitch.tv/smAsho. If you enjoy the content on YouTube, please press the notification bell. That might increase the probability that you'll actually see when we put up a video. I highly doubt it. Check out the pathetic number of views of yesterday's content. 32 views on the daily space weather video. 27 views on yesterday's smAshlight segment. Absolutely pathetic. While over here on BitChute, yesterday's daily space weather video sees 281 views. I'm sure that's not to be attributed to Shadowbans or anything like that. By the way, if you haven't checked out smAsho.com/forum, check that out. There's all kinds of topics there, including cosmology and earth and geophysics and general science and movie recommendations and dream logs. Thanks for commenting, Mary. She says, I've paid very little attention to the stock market or the Fed. Now I see a system that's about to fail with air money and the market artificially manipulated. I think it'll crash soon. I don't know what the effects from this will be. There's a chance for a fair system. It's about time maybe if we backed up the money with something like gold or real estate or silver and gold. That, along with changes in big tech, hopefully there will be jail and prison time. Yes, that's right. Why is that? Because these big tech companies are misleading their shareholders. Have you invested in Google stock so that they can affect the presidential election? Now, I know plenty of leftists, but of the ones who are still willing to talk to me, none of them would like to silence me. I would fight for their right to be able to say whatever they want to whoever they want, whenever they want. This is the U.S. We have this thing called the Bill of Rights, starting with things like the First Amendment, Second Amendment, etc. Now, Mary knows Michigan's economy will be like it was when the auto industry left. By the way, Big Pharma, I don't know if they're misleading their shareholders, but Big Tech is 100% guilty of securities fraud for misleading their shareholders. In any case, Detroit is still a ghost town. Flint is no better. Now, with this, Mary sees people leaving the state. She'll just wait and see. Perhaps her prices will drop as a result. Let's talk about being skeptics. Now, I've been skeptical of the COVID virulence since January 23rd, and one of our forum threads on smashomash.com/forum will tell you all about it. It's over 31 pages long, and it was updated nearly every day for about 3 months following the beginning of this scamdemic. And back then, the very first thing that I typed about the scamdemic is that coronaviruses, what are they? Are they dangerous? Not particularly for healthy people, which, by the way, still holds up to this day. Have you seen me flip-flopping on anything? What's that? Not really? Well, sometimes it sucks being right all the time, especially when your life sucks as a result of completely inept, mentally handicapped politicians. So there's zero transparency. Everybody is cherry-picking data to the point where they should change their last name to Bing, as I am very sour and black on all of the cherry-picked nonsense. Puns intentional. So be skeptical. And if you understand any of the science, fact check the ridiculous nonsense that the media is spewing out all the time, whether it's pandemic, climate change, institutional racism, or whatever new crisis they conjure next. We have a fundamental right to tenaciously defend the transparency and tolerance that constitutes science itself, so that it remains among humanity's crowning achievements, and so that we preserve this golden age that would astound our ancestors. By the way, your ancestors have survived much more serious things than this nonsense that we're experiencing right now. If you haven't checked out yesterday's Joe Rogan experience, it's a 3+ hour interview with Peter Schiff, somebody who understands the real economy. And that's part of the reason why nobody on CNBC wants to talk to him. Isn't that a shame? Let's play a clip.
And we're a few months away from the election. you feel like it looks like Biden is moving into the direction of eventually.
By the way, Peter Schiff's been saying for months that Biden will win the election. So if you're planning on sitting this one out, or you'd like to have a dementia patient as the president of the U.S., I guess Joe Biden's VP pick is kind of important. Let's cut to a clip of Peter Schiff talking. And I have no idea what this will be. This is, oh geez, it's a JRE clip. I'm not even trying to play that. Let's go to the full video here instead of these JRE clips. Which, by the way, those JRE clips is why Joe Rogan stopped doing his videos live and started recording them instead, because people were putting out his own content before he was putting it out himself. Let's hear what Peter Schiff has to say. Take it away, Peter. A real economist, unlike Keynesian imbeciles, such as Paul Krugman, Nobel Prize winner. Another reason why the entire Nobel Prize organization has discredited and defamed itself. Here's Peter Schiff.
If I give you $1,000, how much of it is used in bureaucracy? And
he's talking about taxes. And this is why Bernie Sanders' pool is always empty. Why is that? It's because Bernie Sanders tries to fill his pool by dipping a pitcher into the deep end, spilling a bunch as he stumbles around to the shallow end. That's called government waste. Pouring the rest in the shallow end, and then blaming it on the 1%. It's because of billionaires, which is why we need to make the giant heaving bureaucracy much bigger. So anyway, check it out. It's over 3 hours of Joe Rogan plus Peter Schiff, and it's worth sitting through. Check it out. It's the most busted name in news. No. Speaking of the most busted name in Philadelphia, check it out. It's scumbag, slimy, putrid Mayor Jim Kenney. Yes. What's up with Jim Kenney? Well, guess what? He is a complete COVIDiot. And he's created a citywide ban on large events. Now, I've had Philadelphia boycotted since scumbag Mayor Jim Kenney went into office. I don't even remember when it was, but it's been way too long. I will not set foot within the city limits of Philadelphia. Why? Because Mr. Kenney has made Philadelphia into a sanctuary city, which is a sanctuary for everybody except law-abiding, tax-paying citizens. We can't wait for Jim Kenney to leave office, vacate the city, move to Mars or perhaps Venus. I heard it's lovely this time of year, Jim. Anyway, turns out that you can gather in large groups to riot and burn down buildings. Just make sure you wear masks and socially distance. But you can't have any large events. Why? Because Jim Kenney is a corrupt douchebag. Suck it, Jim Kenney. Let's talk about COVID. Since we haven't talked about COVID enough, we just talked about this moron right here, this complete idiot, Jim Kenney, douchebag. COVID-19. Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's not talk about it. Today, the ESA is going to talk about the first images from the solar orbiter. What's so important about that? This morning at 8 a.m., Thursday, July 16th, the briefing will be live on NASA's website. Here's a link to the website. This is a SciTech Daily article. So they're going to be offering the first images in only 3 hours. The closest images ever taken of the sun by the solar orbiter. Next, let's talk about bacteria that feed on metal. Another interesting article here on SciTech Daily. Turns out there's a bacteria that feeds on metal, and this could lead to some extremely important breakthroughs. It looks like space. Those are magnetic fields around that piece of manganese, I guess. Manganese oxide nodules. And that's a real electron micrograph, I believe, folks. Yeah, that's a real scanning electron micrograph with false colorization. So bacteria that eat metals could have all kinds of different ramifications for human health. Perhaps it's another piece to the puzzle of curing things like Alzheimer's. Fingers crossed on that one. There's a whole set of environmental engineering literature on drinking water distribution systems getting clogged by manganese oxides. So obviously implications for infrastructure improvements as well. Let's hope this technology goes the right way and does something good for mankind. By the way, congratulations on surviving a global pandemic. Look for the t-shirts coming in less than 2 weeks. You'll at least be able to see the prototype. Thanks for surviving a global pandemic. Again, your ancestors survived much worse catastrophes. And here ends today's smAshlights. Thanks for tuning in. And now it's time to get back to some more data.